It's the book club again, and this time we're talking about the brand new release from one of the biggest names in horror right now. It's the new novel from Stephen Graham Jones. This is The Buffalo Hunter Hunter. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Dave Musson, and this is a place where normally I talk to you about Stephen King, but in this spin-off series I bring great books to you and suggest them as something to add to your own list of books you might want to read. Yes, this is the book club, where I talk about books that I have enjoyed that I think you will too. In each episode, I give you a synopsis of the book in question, a little bit about the author, my spoiler-free review of the book, and I try and compare it to a Stephen King book as well, so you have that as a point of reference to help you decide if you want to go and read it. And if you do read this book and you enjoy it, don't forget to leave your own ratings and reviews on Goodreads and Amazon and other places, and rave about it to your own social media followers or your real life friends and family, or just buy them copies of the book. That kind of thing, spread the word, help people find great books. A couple of quick plugs before we start. Links are in the description to my own collection of short stories, Once More Around the Sun, to my range of Stephen King themed band shirts, and there's the link there to become a member of this channel if you enjoy what I'm doing here, become a constant viewer, get extra content, early access to regular stuff, all of that kind of things, all in the description. Check it out if you feel like it. So this time, as I mentioned, I'm talking about the brand new release from Stephen Graham Jones, one of the heavyweights of the horror world right now. This is his take on a vampire story. It's called The Buffalo Hunter Hunter. It's out today if you're watching this video when it drops, the 18th of March 2025. And I've got quite a lot to say about it actually, so let's get into it. Okay, here's the synopsis of The Buffalo Hunter Hunter. A chilling historical horror novel set in the American West in 1912, following a Lutheran priest who transcribes the life of a vampire who haunts the fields of the Blackfeet Reservation looking for justice. A diary written in 1912 by a Lutheran pastor is discovered within a wall. What it unveils is a slow massacre, a chain of events that go back to 217 Blackfeet dead in the snow, told in transcribed interviews by a Blackfeet named Goodstab, who shares the narrative of his peculiar life over a series of confessional visits. This is an American Indian revenge story written by one of the new masters of horror, Stephen Graham Jones. And a bit about the author for you. Stephen Graham Jones is a New York Times best-selling author of 30 or 35 books. Don't know why it's an or there, but hey. He really likes werewolves and slashers. Favourite novels change daily, but Valis and Love Medicine and Lonesome Dove and It and the things they carried are usually all up there somewhere. Stephen lives in Boulder, Colorado. It's a big change from the West Texas he grew up in. So there's all your background. Time for a review of The Buffalo Hunter Hunter. So for the second week in a row here on the book club, I'm kind of struggling to really articulate succinctly what I think about this book. I've sat with this book for a while, trying to work out how to review it. Still haven't really come up with the answer, so we're rolling. Let's just go with it. So this is my second time reading something by Stephen Graham Jones. My first one was My Heart is a Chainsaw, which I wanted to love so much. But I just found the granularity of his pop culture references just really grated on me, and it just ended up feeling like every time I was reading it, I was like plowing through treacle. It was just a really slog of a read to get through. However, I totally wasn't ready to bail on Stephen Graham Jones, so I was very happy to get the review copy of this book. And again, I went in wanting to love it. Sadly, again, I came away not loving it, which maybe feels like a weird choice to bring it to the book club, but at the same time, I can see that this book is unequivocally brilliant. It just hasn't struck a perfect chord with me. But there is the difficulty in trying to review it. Like, it didn't quite click with me, but objectively, it is a fantastic piece of work and a great piece of horror. And I wanted to bring it here to you guys because I didn't want you to miss out. So as an original take on the vampire tale, this is as fresh as blood from an open wound. Obviously, there is a nod to Dracula with the epistolary format, and having a religious character, a Lutheran minister, that feels like a bit of an homage to Salem's Lot as well. But at the same time, the whole take on the story also feels new and interesting. You see, this isn't your common garden vampire story. This is actually historical fiction. As the synopsis indicates, this goes back to a very real massacre of native people in the 1800s, which then led to a subsequent starvation of those people because buffalo were being constantly hunted. And those are kind of the motivations behind our vampire. Our vampire isn't just some horny bugger who wants to drain people's blood. He is on a mission, And it's fascinating over the course of this story to learn about the background and the motivations of Good Stab, who is our main vampire character. This is also a story within a story, and it's done really well. The wraparound to this is told by Etsy, who is a early career academic desperate for a publishing deal that will help her secure tenure. And the story that she tells, these writings from a Lutheran minister, are actually the hidden diary of her great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, one of her relatives. And I really liked Etsy's voice. I found that to be the most compelling. And I thought her situation, like that pressure around trying to secure tenure and trying to take the next step in her career in the competitive world of academia, was really good fodder for a dark tale. So the story itself takes time to build. We get a sense of place, we get a sense of atmosphere, and there are plenty of really bloody, gory, gloopy moments. And Stephen Graham Jones doesn't skimp on the descriptions here, and it's all the better for it. There's also a lot of heart in this story as well. You will really feel the injustice of the slaughtered native folk. You will hate what the Napiquan have done, and you will fall in love with Weasel Plume as well. There's a lot to enjoy here. So why then, you may be wondering, why am I finding it a struggle to review it, and why didn't I love it? In short, for me, it was the writing style. The bulk of this story is taken from these 1900s diary extracts, and the writing is done really well. The writing style of the Lutheran minister is pompous, waffly, pretentious, exactly as I imagine the writing style of an educated person at that time would have been. So it's on point, but it's a real pain and a ball ache to read. And then the transcripts of Good Stab's parts, they're more compelling, but they are absolutely peppered with native language words for different things, which again, I loved seeing, but I was spending so much time stopping reading and looking up these words and trying to keep a track of them. And again, it's on me because I am a privileged white person who speaks English. I don't know these words. And yeah, I liked seeing the richness of this language, but it just made reading the book something that was more of an academic exercise rather than just being able to lose myself in the story. And I have no issues at all with this language being brought in, but for me, it was just, it just took up so much time because I wanted to understand what these words were. And it just became, reading this book just felt like work rather than something I was just doing to enjoy a good story. And I think that's where my difficulties lie and where I feel about this book. And that's the thing, right? Like, this is really well written, and the writing style, as I've said, I think is totally achieving what it is aiming for. Unfortunately, it's a writing style that didn't click with me, and that's why it was a slog for me. Even though objectively I can see this is a very original, very important, and very excellent story. As I've already mentioned, Etsy's parts I got on a lot better with. And actually, I found her parts the darkest and to be the most scary. When we come back to her at the end and all of the stuff that happens with her, that was what was most compelling for me. And that does bring my overall rating of the book up because I really did enjoy that stuff. I can see this one being a book that divides people. So by the time you've read this, let me know what you think of The Buffalo Hunter Hunter. So in terms of comparing this to a Stephen King book, I mean, Salem's Lot is the obvious one, but I was also throwing another couple of obvious ones. Jerusalem's Lot for the letters, the epistolary format, and One for the Road for the snow. So to sum up, what Stephen Graham Jones has done here is hugely impressive. And as I keep saying, this is an incredibly excellent book. And I have no problems recommending it to all of you folks now that it's out. I just don't think that I will ever go back to read this one. However, this has renewed my desire to get stuck into Stephen Graham Jones. I'm pretty confident the Indian Lake trilogy is not for me, but I'm very keen and open to suggestions of where to go next. Should I read some of his short stories? Are there some other things of his that I should dip into? If you're a Stephen Graham Jones fan, let me know where would be good for me to try next. Let's say, this definitely isn't the end of my journey with this author, and I know over many winters to come, there will be points when I'll be sitting there and I will think of Good Stab, for sure. Oh, and while we're in a year where we're talking vampires and stuff, even if this book didn't click with me perfectly, I enjoyed it way more than the new Nosferatu movie. Yeah, shots fired. Thanks so much to NetGalley and to the publishers for my review copy. As I mentioned, this one, if you're watching this video right now, is out today, 18th of March 2025. Do go and give it a try. I'm genuinely curious to see how this one lands with the wider horror community. Okay, there we go. Another episode of the Book Club done. Are you a Stephen Graham Jones fan? Are you excited for the Buffalo Hunter Hunter? Do let me know how you get on with this one. And as I said earlier, if you've got recommendations for where I should take my Stephen Graham Jones journey next, do let me know. I want to click with this author. I haven't so far. I can see he's absolutely brilliant. I feel like I just need the right one and then I'll be in. But there we go. I'll get there eventually, I'm sure. Other things you can do, you can check out the links in the description to my collection of short stories, to my Ranger Stephen King band shirts. You can become a member of this channel, all of those things. And I'll be back here again very soon, either for a Stephen King video, or if you're just here for the book club, well, I'll be back next week with another great read for you to go and check out. Bye bye.